Hello everybody, this is a new live stream and we are looking at the moment on my last trade of this day. It's on the pound Aussie, as you can see. I'm here on a sell trade and I'm waiting for a little bit more pips. You can see that at the moment our candle sits here in this massive order box or block. This blue box is a very strong order block zone, and it's not 100% sure that the candle will come through this block here. It's you see here it bounced here already one time. It was going up a little bit and then now it goes down again. The really nice target on this pair would be if we come until this demand zone here and the end of this order block and box, and here to this bank's buy level. This is a level where normally the sellers should close their trade and bank their profit, so that we see here more or less the end of this down move. But you never know, it can happen very much during trading. This is the plan. This is my trade plan that I have here for this pair. So far it moved almost 30 pips here. The reason for this trade, basically I ignored here this demand zone. You can see this demand zone, this H1 demand zone, did not hold in this case. The candles went through this demand zone. It's a bigger one, it's a H1 because it's a wide demand zone. It's not a really good demand zone to trade because it's a really big one. So if we placed here, for example, a buy order because we maybe thought that it will bounce here on this demand zone, then we had a really big stop loss below this box here. And so the better zones are like this here. You can see these green boxes are supply zones, M15 supply zones. We have here a really small stop loss if we place here a sell order, and we need only a stop loss until here or above this box, and you can see what a nice trade this gives. Even in the case that the candles went through this box, the loss is not that much, but the profit in this case after the bounce of the supply zone is so far 128 pips max here possible. I observe this trade in the next minutes with you. Maybe I will again make the stream around 30 minutes or so, and then we see how far this trade came. It's always possible that it turns around and comes back to my entry, and then maybe it would be a good time to close, or I give it a chance that I say, okay, in the case that it turns again, I would close it for sure if the candle comes again out of this white box. This demand zone will be deleted with the next M30 candle. So in 1 minute we get the next M30 candle, and sooner or later the indicator will then delete this demand zone because it's then not valid anymore. But you can change this in the settings of the indicator that this old demand zone stay on the chart. But then you have a lot of boxes on your charts, and it's hard to see what is fresh and what not. So I use the setting that the old zones are not anymore visible on the chart. We are back to 30 pips. It sits here at the moment on this green buy order block. There was a first little bounce here on this buy order block, and that this trade comes that far like I want, it has now to break this order block, and we will see how many buy orders are waiting here on this zone. If the candles go now up again, then there are a really big number of buy orders at this zone. And the best case scenario for my trade, of course, is that there are not that much buy trades, that we see a little bounce here, and then in the best case scenario the candles move more down here to this area where we have this small H1 demand block, a really small one in the bank's buy level, and the end of this massive order block here. This is the best case scenario. You see again how nice this order lines did work today. You got here a bounce on the first buy order line. These are in this case again a zone where people maybe took profit, and some buyers or some buy orders are placed here in the market, and then we get here this little pullback, and then again we had the next pullback on the next buy order block, and we have now again that the price stopped here on this green line, and these are the place where the next buy orders, pending orders are waiting in the market. And on such zones the big question is, will be the seller strong enough to push the candles lower, or on this pair where there so much buy orders consumed already that now the candles go up again. We don't know the number of buy orders on this line for the forex market. Here we don't have any numbers, we have only predictions. Of course your broker does know how many orders are waiting on the different price levels, and some brokers sell this information to other firms, and maybe this is the reason why we see so often stop loss hunters. But we don't know how many orders here waiting. It's a prediction, but still you can see how nice they again work today here on the pound Aussie. And with the Metagrid indicator, the premium version, you will get for every day this levels here. Of course, if you have a really strong movement of the candles, and you get in a really strong trend because of news, for example. We saw this some years ago. Every time when Donald Trump twittered something and posted a tweet on Twitter, and it was a big sensational news, and then a really strong trend started, then of course all these order lines are not that strong anymore, because the players in the forex market then remove their orders, and of course the prediction is then not correct anymore. Deswegen you should only use these levels on normal market behavior, like we had today on this pair. On some days, if we have heavy news, it's possible that we get a big movement on the candles and spikes, but very often the spikes ends on such big order lines. You can see this light green colored line here. This is a darker one. These are the normal order levels, the buy order levels in green, and this light colored one, these are the stronger ones by the prediction. We are now over 30 pips in profit. I'm not convinced that far that we see a really fast move downwards here. It seems that it really sits at the moment here on this buy order level, and that my trade plan works. We have to see that this buy order block has to be broken. The sellers need to get stronger here. If the buy orders are really big, or more buyers step in on this zone, then of course we will see that maybe again the candles goes a little bit higher, or even the movement turns around here. If you have any question, you have the possibility to write this question in the live chat on YouTube. Then I try to answer that question. Still, it's a nice move so far, And why did I open this trade? I tried to explain it for some minutes ago, and then I came into another discussion, and I forgot to tell you why I opened this trade in the first place. As I told you, I ignored here the demand zone. It's a very big one, so it's not nice to place a stop loss behind. And if you look here on the behavior of this pair, first of all, this moving average was broken here, so the candles came below this moving average. This is a first warning sign that maybe this demand zone does not hold, and the candles came through this massive buy order block. You can see the first time it bounced, this is good, but the second attempt to come through this massive order block and then was successful. And if this is successful on the second attempt or even on the third attempt, then it's also a warning sign that the sellers are really strong on this pair. So this is a warning sign that this next demand zone could maybe not hold, like we saw here. We saw a little bounce on this order line, yes, but then the complete demand zone here has been broken so far. And then we have another warning sign. You can see this yellow trend line here. It's drawn by MetaGrid automatically, and you can see how nicely this trend line was broken here. The candles this candle came below this H4 trend line. Then with the next M30 candle, we get the perfect retest of this yellow trend line. And with the next candle, again, it goes down. And this candle here closed deeper as the open of this green candle, which is basically a good price action. And so this was the next warning sign that the movement can go lower, and this was then the reason that I opened here this sell trade. Of course, it's always possible that I'm wrong and that the candles then go against me, that the trade goes against me, and then it's a loser, of course. So far, we don't come here below this green buy order block. But it's a good example that you can see how nice these order blocks are working. And if you maybe say, okay, it traveled far enough for me, I can close this trade here, then you are good for 30 pips profit. I want to try and wait that maybe we get here the break of this buy zone, and that we come a little bit more to this area here. But we have to see. I would definitely close this trade if it begins here now to bounce and comes back to my entry. Then I would close it more or less on break even, and then it's a zero trade. But the nice thing with this trade is now that I can watch it without any fear. I just have to wait what happens next. I'm already in profit, and in this case the worst thing what can happen is that it gets a break-even trade. For example, we could secure this trade with a stop loss from MetaGrid. I click here on this little green box, then I get here a stop loss line, and I can place the stop loss now wherever I want. And so let's say we place it here and secure our trade in case that it turns against me. And now it tries here to come below this buy order line. Maybe we see here the break of this area. I think I want to make this live session 20 more minutes or so. I don't see so far any questions, so I can still watch this live trade here. And I can you give the information that the next update for MetaGrid, the Trade Manager, will be released on September with some new features, some improvements. I will make an own video then before the release. Yeah, this zone is really hard. If I zoom in for you, you can see maybe it much better. You see it sits exactly here on this green order block. So far we had a little bounce here, and now the sellers cannot manage to break this buy trend line so far, or it's not a trend line, it's buy order block, sorry. And if this breaks comes, then maybe the road is free to travel until here. A little break is there, but every time the candle comes a little bit below this green line, then again it goes a bit higher again and it's over this candle again. So it's really interesting here. Of course, we are a little bit late on the trading session. The European session is already over, so the price moves a little bit slower, but sometimes we see on this time also good moves in the last hours of the trading session, of the US session. Now it is a little bit deeper. Maybe we see here the break of this buy order block. But like I showed you on several other examples the last months and weeks and even years, these order blocks are really strong, and most of the time the candles do have really difficulties to come through such a zone. You saw it here on this order block. It bounced the first time, and even on the second attempt it began here to bounce a bit. Then again it came a really big pin bar, so it came not through this block. Here another pin bar, and then finally the candles managed to come here through, the sellers managed to come through this massive buy orders, and then it traveled a bit faster, and now we have again the situation that we have a slow movement, and in this massive buy order block it's not easy to come through. It can even happen that we see here a bounce maybe, but that's trading. But with these order lines and the order blocks, you have a kind of map for your trading, that you know where are the zones which can lead to trouble, that you maybe also know where to close a trade, which are good points to close a trade. Sometimes the bounce on such lines happens really fast, and I would definitely try to start a trailer in the case that the candle comes here in this area here. So I think 45 pips is a good point where I could start a trailer, that it trails behind the price and the candle, so that we get maybe a little bit more than 45 pips. But this is the goal for this trade, around 45, maybe 50 pips. This would be a really nice trade if it comes that far. Maybe it happens later the night or never. It's also possible that I get stopped out here. You can see lower here we have a lot of more demand zones. The green ones are 15 demand zones. They are basically a little bit weaker than the H1s. This one is a really tiny H1 demand zone. If you want to try it, you can place here a buy order, but I would place the stop loss not right below this box, because we have then the bank's buy level below, which is also a possible zone where the candle wants to test. So below this bank's buy level is a good place for a stop loss, that you have a small stop loss for maybe a bigger bounce here. But we don't know if the next candles will manage to come until here. At the moment it looks not that good, that something will happen maybe in the next hour. The next candle will be formed in around 15 minutes. Then we get the next M30 candle here. And in the case that nothing happens during this live session, which I want to make around 10 or 15 minutes until the next candle comes, then I will give you an update on my Telegram channel how this trade ended. You can subscribe to this channel. I have added the link for the Telegram channel in the description of this live stream, or if you watch the recorded stream, the recording of the stream, you find of course the link also in the description of this YouTube video. Yeah, greetings back to Spain. I see in the chat box Steve wrote here good evening from Spain. So I think in Spain you should have almost the same time as I have here in Germany. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Spain has almost the same time, even maybe the same time. I'm not sure. I was there 2 times, but I can't remember if it's the same time zone, but I think so. And still it's the same behavior here. The candle goes a little bit below this buy zone, then it goes higher, then it goes a little bit lower. So it does not know what it wants, and the sellers are not strong enough to push the candles lower. Here this buy level is so far strong. Okay, then it's the same time as I have here, so it's 13 minutes before 8 p.m. In Spain it's the same time here in Germany. It's a late trade for me, but I opened it, let's see, over 2 hours ago, and I thought it could go a little bit faster, that I see more movement during the end of this US session, but this massive order block here is not funny. It's for sure a little bit riskier trade, of course, because the bounce risk is much higher. If we had not this order block here, I think the candle would go faster down. It's another attempt to come here lower, but you see again, every attempt then ends with the same situation, that this candle then is almost again back to this green line. It's really funny. And maybe you notice from your own trading, if you open the trade and then you sit in front of your screen and you watch staring at your candle and nothing happens, and for sure if you would close now this trade because you think there will nothing happen anymore today, after that you closed this trade, the candle begins to move. It's always the same. And sometimes I think they only watching me what I do, and they only wait that I close this trade and then they let the price move again. I think the most of you maybe know the situation, but it seems to be a little bit spiky now, this candle. It gets a little bit spiky here on this buy zone. The candle will be closed in 10 minutes, and this is the next attempt to come deeper. Here with every attempt it seems it gets a tiny pip or not even a pip more, and then it gets pushed up again to this green line. And like I told you, if we could manage to come here over 40 pips, I think I would plan a trailer for this pair. We can then here set a trailer. At the moment the trailer is deactivated. If you put here a lot of 9s in it, the trailer does not start. And if I change this and click on save, then I can easily set a trailer for this pair. Steve asked if I have a TP, as a target, set on this pair. So far I have not set a target for this. The reason is that I'm at the moment in front of the screen and I'm watching this trade. In the case that I'm not sitting directly before my screen, of course I would place here a target, and I think the target would be also around here, a little bit higher than this white demand box here. I think 2 or 3 pips higher, or I would set a trailer with 45 pips or so. I like a trailer sometimes more than a target, because then you have the chance, in case that it moves fast, that you get even more than the target you maybe wanted to reach. But this is the only reason. If you want to place here a target, of course you can do this. If you click here on the green box, for example, then you get here a target line, and then you can decide where the target is, and you can see how much money you would make on this place. So let's say if I had, maybe I had placed it even here, the target. I don't hope that the candle now touches it that fast. If it goes down, you can see there's a little it looks like a little support here on this area. So in case I'm not in front of the screen, this is also a good place maybe for a target if the candles reach this area here. But it looks of course better if we have 100 euros, for example, if it comes to here. I remove it again here. And it's still the same, there's nothing changed so far. We have to see what the next candle does. I think we wait for the next candle, maybe the first minutes of the next candle, if there's something will happen on this trade. Otherwise I would give you an update on my Telegram channel, or you watch it on your own live chart, and then you can see what happened in the next hours. But you never know, maybe suddenly we get here the push, and then it goes for the next zone. You never know. You can also see here this purple line here. This is a weekly trend line, and we had here also a really nice price action. The candles here came first time here over this weekly trend line. It bounced a bit, then it retested it again, and then again here it came over it. We get another retest, and then with this 3 green candles is a really nice price action, which shows that normally this trend line got broken and it will move higher. My hope is that the candles and the traders don't want to retest again this yellow line here, or even this yellow H4 line. So I hope the sellers get the power of this trade and move it a little bit more. I ask only for 10 or 15 pips more, please. Of course, it's good so far. It's good profit to close it now. But normally I try to reach the goal which I had in my mind. And even if it ends here with only 5 euros, if it comes back and ends here on the stop loss, it's okay. Then it was a fun trade. Yeah, it's a kind of boring trade so far. It really began nicely after these candles here, and then now it don't like here this buy zone. This trade hates me for sure. But all these levels are not retested so far, so it traveled really nicely here upwards. You can see the classical behavior of a really trending pair. It made here higher lows, again a higher low, and again here a kind of higher low here. And it also made here higher highs, higher high, and a higher high. So this was a really nice trending pair, and all this pullbacks here so far are not retested, and sometimes the candles come all the way back, retest this area again before the next movement starts. And it would be really nice if this area could be retested again. We can check if we use the Fibonacci tool here. Let's see. This is also the so-called golden ratio level here, so the 61.8 level. If we look here based from this low to this high on the Fibonacci levels, you saw that this 50 level also was on the same place almost as this stronger buy order block. And so you have a double confirmation that this line could give a bounce, which happened here. And so the 61.8 level, the golden ratio, is also possible that it bounces then again here. It's very interesting to see. We have also an interesting Fibonacci level here on the 78.6 level. It's in this little M15 demand zone, and below we have a double order buy block. So this zone is also interesting to watch. Maybe if you watch this pair tomorrow, in the case that it goes deeper, then this area here could give maybe also a reaction here. So the next candle begins now in 1 minute, and I want to check the first minutes of this candle, and then I think I will end the live stream because it does not move really much here, and yeah, Steve writes, this down move could just be a pullback into the 200 EMA. That's of course possible. Or you think it's going to go deeper? My trade plan is of course that it should go at least here to this area and test this complete order block here. This is my hope. I don't think that it will completely retest all these areas. I don't think that it looks like maybe it's really only a pullback to this area here and then it goes higher. It's possible. But my hope is still that it wants to retest this area, because it looks here like a kind of stronger support area here. So that it wants to retest here, that the traders want to retest this area. It is now indeed below this green line, the next candle. It closed here below this green line. So maybe we are through this buy order block, but you see it's already a little bit green, this next candle. And if it is going deeper, it would retest the weekly trend line again. I don't know if it really again wants to retest here this weekly trend line. Not sure. Depends maybe what news we get tomorrow. But I think and I hope if it's a pullback here, that it's not over here on this. I hope it's then over here around on this area. So maybe 10-20 pips more to go. This is what I hoped. And again, a little tiny move here. It's below this green line. This is a good sign so far. If I zoom in, you can see it's really now below this green buy order line. And I think, let's do it, we make it a trailer. Let's say we start a trailer on, it's already 40 pips now. So let's say we want to start it on, let's do 44 pips. So we need ticks, it's this. And we want that it trails, let's say, yeah, 4.5 pips behind the price. So maybe we get this. So I think I can do some more minutes of this live stream. Maybe we see that this happens. It can also happen that it goes again over this green line. But now we have the trailer set here. Yes, I have saved it. So in case that we see 44 pips here, then the trailer will start and will trail 4.5 pips behind the price. I use very often funny numbers here. Don't care about that. This is what we want to see, that this candle goes lower, that the red candle gets bigger, that we see more than 44 pips, and that then the trailer trails this trade home. But it's again a really slow movement now. It's still the holiday time and it's late, the US session, the European traders are not there anymore. Okay, I'm here, but I'm not a big European trader, so I can't move the price. It's almost 40 pips now. We need 4-5 more pips to get that the trailer gets started. Basically, I wanted to end the live stream 4 minutes ago, but it's now very interesting. I think we can wait it, and everyone has the possibility to do other things than watch this live stream. So let's do it and we wait. If it comes again over this green line, I think I would end the live stream and I give you the update later. But as far as it stays here now below this green line, I think it's interesting to watch what happens. Yes, these levels you see here on the screen, and the question is if I'm using my own indicator for these levels. These levels are drawn by MetaGrid. This is my trading software. You can see here on the screen, you can here add your the trailer, the target, and so on. And in the premium version, you get also these levels here on your chart. And the boxes you see here is from the supply and demand indicator. It's also an own indicator which draws the supply and demand levels for all 9 time frames. You can set a lot of things in this indicator, which levels you want to see on your chart. You can even set that it only shows one time frame, the supply and demand zones, and also these trend lines are all from the MetaGrid trading software here. The bank sell and bank buy levels, it's the same. And so this is what I'm using every day for trading. It started with the trade manager itself some years ago. It was only a trade manager, and so after some years it now has also these levels in it. And basically these levels are calculated on the behavior of the pair itself, on the market structure of this pair, but it uses external data too to calculate these lines. And you get these lines every day when a new trading day starts. So you can see the line starts here. This is the beginning of today's trading day. And some seconds after the new trading day starts, you get fresh levels. So these green lines you see here will be deleted on midnight. And then you get the next lines, or the new order blocks, better to say the new order blocks for the new trading day. So every time when the new trading day starts, you have the fresh levels for the day and for all forex pairs, also for gold, silver, and yeah, the most assets on MT4. It's only available for on MT4, not for MT5. Okay, Steve uses mostly TradingView. TradingView is also good. I used it a lot some years ago, but I think it's now only if you pay for it. There's a free version, but there's a lot of ads if you have the free version, and you can't use all indicators as far as I know. But TradingView basically is a good charting software, because you don't have to install any software on your computer. You can use it with your browser. But I don't think that it's possible to code this trade manager and all the stuff with these levels with TradingView. I know the coding language of TradingView, but I have not used it so far. But it's also a very powerful system, TradingView. And I guess that there's also a supply and demand indicator available on TradingView. I don't know if there's a multi-time frame SD indicator, but I think so. I use MT4 since I began with trading. The first time I opened MT4 around 7 years ago. My first thinking was, what is that? It looked really a bit old and not very modern. So I was a little bit, it looked a little bit awful. But if you use it every day, MT4 is really nice, because there are thousands of indicators available for MT4, which is on the one side good, but on the other side bad. Because if you don't like an indicator because you make some losses, you take the next indicator and the next indicator and the next one. And so if you trade for some years, you have on your MT4 100, 200, 400 indicators, and you don't stay on one indicator and test it all day long. You have so many indicators that you every time you make a loss, you take the next indicator, which is basically not good. But I did the same 5-6 years ago, every time I had a loss, I deleted the indicator and took the next one. So yeah, Shiba, I don't know if this is pronounced correctly. Shiba 983, nice profit so far. Yes, that's true, but my aim is to come here into 44 pips that the trailer starts and that we can close the trade, but the movement is so slow at the moment. I don't stream at the same hour every day. Normally I stream if I have a trade open and running and if something interesting happens. And my hope was that this trade moves a little bit faster and that it comes faster here to this area. And since I began this live stream, we almost sit around the same place here. We managed, meantime, that this candle closed below this green buy order zone. So this is basically a good sign. But this next candle you can see does the same as the candle before. It does not move very much, and in the worst case it will then close again below this green line, which would be a not so good sign for this trade. And like I told you some minutes ago, of course I could now close this trade and took the profit here, but I have this goal in my mind to go for 44 pips or more, and I think it could happen. It's late, I know. Yeah, Steve. Steve says yes, exactly. It's like going back to DOS after you have used Windows. Yes, it looks like a bit a Windows 95 version, also this MT4 with all these gray areas here, but it's really powerful and the most brokers offer this MT4 for free. And the next version or the other version, which is MT5, it looks a little bit more, it's a little bit more modern, but it looks almost the same as MT4, but it has more tools in it. It's better for trade with stocks, MT5, but basically I don't use MT5, and this is the reason I never coded this trade manager and these levels for MT5, because you need a kind of number of people who want to buy such a software, and it's still the most people use MT4, the most like MT4, because there's that big number of indicators available. On MT5 you have not that much indicators. There are, in the meantime, there are a lot of indicators for MT5 too, but on MT4 it's crazy, the number of indicators and automatic robots and EAs you can get for it. And I hope that MT4 runs forever, because if MetaQuotes, which is basically the developer of MT4, decides some days to stop MT4 and only to offer MT5, I had to code all the stuff fresh again, and I don't think they will stop it that soon, because they make a lot of money with MT4 because of the big number of indicators and EAs, so I don't think they will stop the MT4. There were a lot of rumors that they could do this, but it never happened so far. Yeah, you're welcome. Shiba, I hope I pronounced it correctly, Shiba. Where are you from? Wow, we are on 41 pips. We need 3 or 4 pips more that the trailer starts. We need some more sellers on this pair, that we see the 44 pips here. During the European session, In the beginning of the US session, of course, the movement is much faster. We already had known so far if this trade would be a winner or not. But now at this last hours of the US session, there are not many traders obviously sitting in front of their computers. And I don't think that we see any news in the next 2 or 3 hours. I check it on Forex Factory if there are any news in front of us today. No. No news. And it looks like we have tomorrow again a day with less news. On Forex Factory, where you can check the news calendar for trading, I think you know it. There are no red flagged news tomorrow, which is basically good, because then we have maybe a really nice trading day with normal price behavior. From Slovenia. Okay, greetings to Slovenia. From Germany. What is your opinion? Do you think we get here 4 more or 5 more pips that I get here the trailer started, or do you think this trade could turn around and goes then against me? And I'm 100% sure if I would close it now, it would suddenly move down here, only to show me don't close it. Yeah, to you, same to you, Shiba. Have a nice evening. Until next time, you can subscribe to my channel, then you get an alert if I'm going live again. It's a long live stream today, but it's interesting too. If you have questions or want to chat with me, you can use the live chat on YouTube. If you are fresh to this live stream, I'm still waiting that this trade reaches 44 pips. Then the trailer starts, and then we wait that price touches the trailer line and ends, and this trade ends. We need at the moment 3 more pips. It's really crazy that we have to wait for 3 pips. 3 pips is basically nothing on this pair, but if you wait for 3 pips, it can take forever. Yeah, thanks, Steve. What I really like is that it now broke this green line and that it's below this green line. On these other buy lines, we had really green candles. On this green line, it ended at least with a little tiny red candle. But the time is a little bit against me. If more sellers decide maybe now to close such a trade, and they took profit maybe because they think, okay, in 2 hours the US session is completely over, and they begin now to take profit, and then the price would go higher again. I don't hope that this happens before I have here my 44 pips. But I think I would close it basically. I would wait 1 more candle, and if I then have not reached the 44 pips, I think I would close this trade. We came so far, traveled here so far away from the entry. It would be not nice if we then end with a break-even trade here. By the way, these yellow lines, what you can see here, is the spread of this pair, and you can see it's really small here on IC markets. This is the reason why I use IC markets as my main broker with this low spread. It already begins again to a little bit spiky here, to spike again here. We have a little spike here on this candle. But okay, almost 40 pips is good. I wait to the end of this candle, and then I think I will end the live stream, and then the update comes as a comment below this video or in my trading channel on Telegram, because otherwise this video gets really too long. And so far it does not look like it wants to make this 44 pips that soon. It really begins to spike. I think it's really that way that the first traders begin here to take profit now that we see here this little spike. Possible that they sit also in front of their screen and think there nothing happens here, I close this trade. And of course, if you close such a sell trade, there's another buyer maybe which wants to go into a buy trade, and so the candle goes higher. So, and based on the time for the US session, it's a time where really profit. You should take profit. But still I wait. We have 8 more minutes to go for this candle, and then I will stop for the day with the live stream, but I will run the trade a bit longer. I check then maybe all 5 minutes or so, and check if it gets worse or better, and maybe I decide then to close this trade before the 44 pips. The price almost sleeps now, the candle sleeps here. It's the opposite of the last trade I had, which I also recorded. It traveled so fast that I even not had the time to start a live stream. I could only record it. It's also in my YouTube channel, and it happened all so fast. And today we have the opposite, that it is so slow. In 6 minutes this candle will close. And if you want to have more information, you can visit my website. Let's see if I have the link on it. It's the metagrid.com. If you want to have more information about this Metagrid Trade Manager or the supply and demand indicator, you find there some more information about it, and we have some trading groups on Telegram. How big was this down move so far? 150 pips. It's a lot. It moved a lot down from here. Of course, there will be the point and the time when we see here again a change of this direction, so that it will then go the other way. And maybe this is really only the pullback here. And then we see again, maybe tomorrow or during the night, then that it wants to go higher. If we look on the chart higher, by the way, we see that we have here a smaller M15 supply zone. And above this we have some sell order blocks, but these are the sell order blocks for this trading day. We have to wait for the next order blocks for tomorrow, if they are still there on this area. And then we can decide where the next maybe interesting turning point could be if price goes higher. The next really interesting level is then here, in case we go higher, this purple line, which is a weekly trend line, which goes at the moment directly through the next bigger order block. We have to wait if this order block stays tomorrow. If so, then this area here and a possible bounce of this weekly trend line here is for the scalpers a good possibility for a sell trade for some pips. Or if we tomorrow see that this pair is trending again and goes higher, and then you can aim here this area as a target. This is a really interesting zone here. So we have 3 more minutes and you can really see it spiked here. This candle could end as a pin bar here, which I don't like. If it ends as a pin bar and then after the pin bar we see a green candle, then it's really time to close this trade. I have to see this. I don't stream this then live. I give the update in my channel and in the comment section of this video then. But so far I don't think we will see the 44 pips. This pin bar is not what I hoped for. It's even getting a little bit green now. And like I told you, I think a lot of people begin here now to take profit on this long way down. They have the same in mind, that the US session ends soon and better to take the profit now. And then we see, of course, such a behavior of the price here, of the candles. And so the only thing we can do then is, of course, to close this trade. And I will do this if the candle comes again over this green buy line, then I'm out here. As long as it stays below this green line, I try for the 44 pips. And if it comes over it and stays, then I will close this trade. The candle closes in 1 minute. I think it was a long video. I hope you learned something, or it was interesting for you, that you could watch this trade. Even it happened not that much. We saw basically only a move of what was it, 8-9 pips. I think I started the broadcast here and we are now here, so we saw basically max move of 11 pips here during this live session. Really funny. Thanks for watching. If you like it and liked it, then you can subscribe to my channel, then you get an alert if I stream the next time live. I hope then we see more movement. Have a good night, a good evening, and